Hello, welcome back to Really Good Beers, where we chat about and discuss all sorts of movies. My name is Gary O'Brien, and joining me as always for the monthly movie awards, it is my good friend and co-host, David Scandal. Today we're presenting our awards for the movies of November 2022, so stick around, we hope you enjoy. Yeah, so the first thing I want to get out of the way with is I apologize for ruining people's holidays, and if they're here because of it, thank you. So what I did was, I was recently away on holidays, and I went to go see, one of those geyser things, and it's gas because nobody knows when it's going to fucking, although everyone's like, oh, maybe. It has a tail. It doesn't have a tail. It just fucking explodes whenever it explodes. Well, everyone's like, there's like 100 people recording this thing. Not happening. So there's hours of footage on people's phones of something not happening. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I took the opportunity to be like, oh man, I'm hanging around here waiting so long, I should just stick on my favourite podcast, at Really Good Beers on Instagram. It's great. They talk about new movies, old movies, movies you love, movies you hate, but also some you don't know. And I just promoted the podcast on my entire holiday whenever I saw someone recording a video. So if they're here because of it, apologies, but thanks for tuning in.
So the idea there was that like someone is going to look back on their video of the guys are not going off.
Yeah.
And hear you promoting Reading in the Beers. Yeah. Oh, I love it.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think so. And even the waterfall shit, it's just like I'm just talking about. There's a great recap on March. People should go back and check it out. I don't know what we talked about in March. But
I feel if you're, don't take this as any disrespect, Gary, but I think if you're a more confident person, I think you would actually go and try and promote this properly. Like, you know, hey, I'm Gary, I have a podcast.
No,
whereas you're like, don't talk to me about my podcast.
Don't talk to me about it. That's not me.
Yeah.
But speaking of podcast, this is one. And we're talking about movies from November, David.
November.
A lot of movies in November.
It was a good month.
Yeah.
So good that I actually don't have any entries for a lot of the awards.
As in the bad ones?
Yeah, the bad ones, yeah.
Not that this month is so good I couldn't pick something for movie of the month. Don't worry, I picked some bad ones. Yeah. But also this month we had the Mighty Movie Mustache Mowdown, which people were voting for on Instagram. I was very appreciative of people's engagement in that, David.
It was a surprise winner, I think.
Yeah, I was expecting Bill Cutton.
I had heard from several sources that they were hoping Borat would win, so that's where my favourite was going.
Look, speaking about upsets, fucking Pierce Brosnan knocked out in the first round.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, oh yeah, I didn't expect him to win it, but I expected people to have my back somewhat.
So the thing is, because he's not a typically mustached man, was it weird to see him with a mustache?
Not at all, because that movie's fantastic. It's not good, but it's great. I love that movie.
No, I'm just thinking like when you look at, say, the winner, who was Elliot,
the stranger, from Big
who typically has a mustache, and he has a majestic mustache in that. Yeah, is it just a case that he deserves it? He's put in the hours.
Yeah, but you have to remember, the range Pierce Brosnan has shown to grow that mustache. You know what I mean? The fact that he was able to.
Was that actual mustache? It was.
I think so. Yeah. Okay. This is already too long.
Did Henry Cavill make that list?
He lost to Danny Trejo from Machete.
Okay,
I was a bit surprised by that as well.
I was surprised him as well.
Yeah. So people, thank you for voting in that, but we're going to talk about movies now.
Yeah.
And how this works, if anyone's not aware, new listeners from.
Oh, sorry. Actually, you need to also thank some of the listeners for donating.
Oh yeah, I know.
Like if you're gonna talk about mustaches.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I was trying to keep the beginning light, but let's talk for longer. Yes, I also was raising money for November, and people were far too generous by giving me money for it. So thank you very much.
He no longer has a mustache, people.
I had to shave. Yeah, people were annoyed about me not having a mustache yesterday, but I'm like, it's a November exclusive. I can't have it outside of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, big time.
But no, very much do appreciate people because I beat my 2020 record, so I was very happy with that. Yeah, exactly.
More money for men's health.
Exactly. And it is a good cause. It's not like something, it's not a cash making scheme for Gary. I wish. If only I was more confident in promoting my scams. I was so much better at it.
You could end up with a Netflix documentary.
Oh man.
Like the Tinder swindler. Was that?
I could see you being so ready. Just to be, I'll talk shit about Gary. Yeah. I'll be like ex-best friend from school.
I'll bring my own mic.
Oh, piece of shit. Anyway, sorry. We're getting so off tangent. So yes, for anyone who doesn't know how this works or is a new listener from Iceland, how this works is myself and David watch a load of movies in a month. And how we talk about them is we split it up across 6 awards. So best movie of the month, worst movie of the month, the Poovy Award, best actor, worst actor, hidden gem, and blatant muck. And we have 15 movies to talk about today. If you have seen them or haven't seen them, you can jump around. There's time codes in the description. But we're talking about Triangle of Sadness, Wendell and Wild, All Quiet on the Western Front, Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, Watcher, Barbarian, Black Panther 2, Enola Holmes 2, The Wonder, The Menu, Disenchanted, Armageddon Time, Confess Fletch, She Said, and Bones and All. However, if that sounds like a lot, there's like ones we're going to be talking about for like 30 seconds. And a lot of them are just going to be like, here's the movie, should you see it or not? But like there are ones that we do want to get into detail with, such as like The Menu. I think Black Panther, there's some interesting stuff to talk about. And then a surprise hit for you, Confess Fletch, is a big one. We've got, and how this works is the Academy consists of 2 people, myself and David. There's a tiebreaker. It goes to the producer. The producer changes each time. Couldn't think of anything ridiculous this time, so I got John Hamm. Hi, John Hamm. That's it.
Oh, that's it.
There's nothing else. John Hamm's here. Wouldn't it be good to have John Hamm here?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he is here, but like, wouldn't it be good?
It'd be huge.
But we're gonna, speaking of good actors, we're gonna talk about the Best Actor award, and our first nominee is from The Menu.
Who did you pick?
You can pick. You can talk about The Menu. You love this movie, so you have Anya Taylor-Joy and
Ralph Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes is pretty good in this. Fiennes. Yeah, he's pretty good. That was pretty good in this. So yeah, what's The Menu about?
Do you know what? Everyone in this movie is pretty good. I think everyone does a good job. Okay, so The Menu is would you say black comedy drama sort of thing?
Yeah. Black comedy thriller.
Yeah, so it's where there's this exclusive restaurant on a remote exotic island, and only like super, super rich or relatively famous people go to have these weird meals.
Yeah.
So we're joined by Nicholas Holt's character, who is going with his partner, Anya Taylor-Joy, and they're going on this boat with a number of other kind of super rich or super well-known people within kind of foodie circles and stuff, and they're going to this island to be receive a meal from Ralph Fiennes' famous kind of chef, whatever. And I suppose the only thing I'll say is it doesn't go the way they were hoping.
Yeah, and I think it's a movie where the less said about it, the better. Because it does take a few twists and turns. But if you know it's a thriller comedy, I think the movie sets up quite early on that it's going to be a bit darker than you would expect.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think there's 2 great things about this movie is the acting, which we're going to be talking about now in a sec, but also the writing I think is very good. And it's done by 2 guys, Seth Reese and another guy whose name I don't recall.
I got it here, hold on.
Seth Reese and Will Tracy. And I just think both what they're able to do for the dialogue, but also the story they tell as well, very, very good. But I think the script is I don't think if this script had these actors, I don't think it'd be as good.
Yeah, true. I think the 3 main actors, I think, are standout in terms of Ralph Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Nicholas Hoult. I think they all kind of really embed themselves in their characters. But then, like, you look at John Leguizamo, he was like surprisingly good. And
my favorite was Hong Chow.
Yeah,
she is so good. Every line she delivers is she was my favorite. Maybe because I've seen less of her stuff. Yeah. And Ralph Fiennes just doing Voldemort, the chef.
Yeah, she's very deadpan.
So great, I love it.
But even like Janet McTeer is the food critic as well. She's
very good as well.
She's very good as well. And plus the other thing is like the characters go through multiple emotions in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's funny to see some like deteriorate quicker than others and stuff like that in certain situations. But yeah, I suppose like the whole idea of the movie is like kind of looking at putting a mirror up to society and seeing how they react in certain situations.
Any particular type of members of society, David?
It's a type of members of society who go to an exotic island, to a fancy restaurant,
and who would those be?
And eat soap off a rock. You know, those type of people.
Oh, so would you say these are wealthy people?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So it's a movie condemning wealthy people. All right. Yeah. Is there any other way we can spin that, or
eat the rich?
Yeah, there we go.
Eat the rich. No.
So this movie and many others this month are very eat the rich-esque. Another one we've seen, Glass Onion, which we're going to do next month because there's too much to talk about here this month. But I don't think this did it as well as Glass Onion. Again, we'll talk about that more.
So this is the thing. I think this was a little bit more subtle.
Yes.
So with Glass Onion, I think it's more of those kind of influencer types, whereas this one is more just like, I think, the dirty rich.
Yeah. Because we have the kind of washed up actor played by John Leguizamo. Leguizamo. Yeah. And and then his assistant. We have the food critic and her like
husband, isn't it?
Is it a husband or like an assistant or someone she works with who just
kind of
like
her husband, but he was also a food critic.
Well, he just like what you call it. He just what's the word? He just indulges everything she says, and it's like, oh, you're so right, kind of thing like that. And then we've got the finance bros. And then we have these two people, this man and woman who just look very wealthy. The couple. And then we have Nicholas Hoult and who's like the ultimate foodie. And this is where the movie lost me a bit. See, I'm not a big foodie person. I just love a Bunsen burger. I'm a simple man, but I also have simple tastes.
Yeah, exactly.
And this movie, I was just like, I fucking hate these people.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I don't know. And I'm a big, whenever I see someone putting up food on Instagram, I'm like, get over, just eat it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even seen it. But so I enjoyed when bad situations came about for these people. Like, good, this is what you get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Go on a weird fucking island.
Although this is the thing, and it's one of the things that I'll probably mention later on is, and other reviewers I've listened to have mentioned it, is like kind of the whole critique of the super wealthy or the super rich. Like it's not a difficult.
Oh, it's an easy target.
It's not a difficult target to kind of promote or whatever. Yeah. People aren't going to be like, oh, they're not so bad.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy it. It doesn't mean I don't enjoy it as much as you're supposed to.
Yeah, and I think, and this is where I spoke to you about it as well. Like, obviously things happens in this movie to these characters, and it's all kind of engineered by Ralph Fiennes' character, Chef McChef, Julian Slowick.
I think you should just say chef, like.
Yeah, he's a chef. Julian. I'm going to call him Julian.
Yeah.
And if I had time, I might put in the Move It music from Madagascar, but we'll see how we feel. Was it there? Who knows? but he, no, I don't know. His character's so sinister, and the whole kitchen staff.
Yeah.
That you do sometimes feel sympathetic for these uber wealthy people, which I think the movie kind of does an interesting twist on it. Not twist on, but it's just an interesting how you go in being like, fuck all these people, and then you're like, oh wait, now they're not as bad as the weird chef man.
Yeah, there is moments where he delivers lines, you're like, that's very Voldemort-esque.
Yeah, he is like, again, it's Ralph Fiennes doing a villain, like it's top notch, but it is so good, his performance in it, and Anya Taylor-Joy is just killing it every movie she's in. It's scary. I don't like it.
Yeah,
she needs a flop. She needs a grey man.
A grey man.
Yeah,
wow.
She's one of those. Just be like, oh, she has flaws.
She just seems to be picking. And again, like she's yet to find that huge movie, which is probably a good thing for her.
Well, she was in New Mutants.
Oh, that was probably a dodgy one. But like, she dodged a bullet.
Yeah, but that was pre Queen's Gambit. So
yeah, and plus with the whole COVID thing, like I don't think that really.
Yeah,
it's not really as well known as people probably would have if it hadn't come out during COVID. Anyway, yeah, look, she's really good. Again, she goes through kind of multiple emotions as well. She's the type of person who, like, she's a kind of a fish out of water.
Yeah.
Being there and stuff, and I don't think she never really understands the enormity of the situation she's in when it begins. And then her, and even like the biggest thing for me was herself and Ralph Fiennes' character, the chef. They just have these kind of quiet moments together. Yeah. Like there's all this kind of chaos within the restaurant, and then every so often there was just these quiet moments between these two characters, and they kind of they found this kind of level playing field to kind of understand each other, which I found really quite nice, because with all that kind of tension, it's nice to have those moments of a little bit of levity, and it just kind of had a bit of release of pressure, and again, it kind of added to the enjoyment of the movie that there's just moments of levity. Yeah, and the last thing I want to mention on this for myself anyway, it's just the set. Because the whole movie takes place in this one big room, and I don't know how it's designed. It's a bit like the Parasite house in that, like, it's so fit for purpose of like how they want to shoot the movie. I know that sounds of course they've done it that way, but it's just such a good set because how they're able to do different angles and different scenes or different character conversations, and how the tables are placed up, like everything is so well. It strike how it initially is shown as this big lavish room of like, you look out into the expanse of like the ocean or the sea or whatever the fuck, and there's all like the big tables and everything like that, but it's nearly like as the movie continues it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, but it's still the same size room, and I just think that it's something that obviously can be easily written in a script, but from a production point of view, I think they knocked it out of the park. Big time, yeah, with the whole layout and stuff, even having say the simple thing of having certain characters not facing others
and
stuff like that. They had it obviously set up that way. It's interesting that way. But yeah, no, look, it's definitely, as we mentioned, it's definitely the type of one if you can go in as blind as possible. And yeah, just have a good time with it.
And like I know what people are thinking. They're just like, I've always wanted to see a movie from the guy who did Ali G in the House.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the one to check out.
Yeah.
Right, shall we talk about Black Panther Wakanda Forever?
Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, we saw this in the hottest room that has ever existed in the world.
I think we were in Africa, Gary.
I think we were in Wakanda. I think it was so fucking warm.
Yeah.
And it's such a long movie as well. I think that's why maybe we didn't enjoy it as much, because we felt the time go by as much.
Yeah.
But there are other points that I will make on it. But yeah, I think for us in this, I think we both agree for this category, Angela I was going to say Angela Lansbury.
Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett is incredible.
Yeah.
And my thoughts on the movie is it's fine. It's too long. There's too many characters in it, and it's not as good as the first one.
Yeah.
When you consider, but again, the first one was Oscar nominated for Best Picture, so this isn't of the same caliber. However, I think Angela Bassett, her performance is Oscar where I could see her winning an Oscar for this. There's one speech. Yes, there's always the Oscar speech in every movie, but the one she does in this is top notch. But her whole arc in the movie as well is so good. And again, we haven't seen her too much in the other movies, as much as obviously Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa, but the fact that she's able to reference events in those other movies, and it just fleshes out her character and her past so much more stronger. It's just so good. But that's not to say that that's the only good performance in this. Lupita Nyong'o's back, and I actually forgot she was in it.
Yeah.
And then she shows up on camera. I'm like, oh yeah, she's in this, and she's great. Again, after seeing Us this year, I'm still like, why does she not have a big fucking movie franchise? Like, why is she playing? Like, it's crazy between herself and
Shannon Lynch, is it?
No, oh my god, the guy can Get Out. Where's my brain going? Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah.
I'm just like, how are they playing like the most, and even Idris Elba, how are these playing like the most minor characters in the MCU? Like, these guys should be heroes in themselves, have their own movie and stuff. But yeah, so she's great in it as well. Letitia Wright, my god, like, so for anyone who doesn't know, the story is T'Challa is dead at the beginning of this movie. We don't really get told why. We just know it's a mystery illness, and all of a sudden there's no Black Panther because the magical flower has been destroyed, and Wakanda's in this kind of weird state of mourning. But all of a sudden there is a discovery of vibranium in the ocean by the US military, or the bad guys, Navy, I think it is. Yeah. And all of a sudden a underwater protector in Namor comes to destroy all, it's not spoiled, it's the beginning of the movie, destroys that ship, and then is like, fuck, these lads are going to find us because Wakanda's being fucked right now. So Wakanda's not playing ball with the rest of the world right now. So Namor goes to Wakanda and be like, here, you need to sort out these US guys or else we're going to come and get you. And it's effectively Wakanda having to deal with this underwater what's the word, being warrior, just jet, like this, like Superman but for water, just like being such a constant threat to them, and having to deal with all this so he doesn't come and destroy Wakanda effectively. But Letitia Wright's character is obviously dealing with the death of her brother, and then also there's this other things of having to be able to lead a country, and then also having to deal with this external force applying great pressure on them. So from her point of view, I just think, from someone again who was such a background character to holding an entire movie together, because I think another thing about this movie is it's one of the most, I think, emotional MCU movies to date, and that all comes down to Angela Lansbury, of course. No, Angela Bassett and Letitia Wright. I think the two of them really hold the movie together in that sense, but also Letitia Wright from an action point of view. And I'm going to keep talking and then I'll stop, I promise. But again, a good superhero movie needs a good villain, and Tenoch Huerta, how do you pronounce it? I'm so sorry.
Horatio, is it?
No, Tenoch Huerta. Yeah, as Namor is fantastic from a what you call it? Just the look,
sinister point of view.
Sinister point of view, just in terms of like his evil intentions, but also just like his physical presence, and also, like I said, those kind of maybe more emotional moments as well. He is a fantastic villain, and one of the best MCU villains we've had in a long time. Because you know why? He's just a bad guy. Yeah. He's just fucked in the head. He's been down underwater too long. His brain is mush. Yeah. But also he's got a nice origin story, and his motivations are clear, and it all makes sense. But yeah, again, as a movie, it's not as good as the first one. It's driven by some great performances. The action's a bit meh, and pacing's weird, and there's too many characters.
Yeah. Okay. So first, like the first thing to note there is like the fact that a lot of the actors in this just stepped up. Yeah. There's a gap there, needs to be filled, and a lot of them just stepped up.
And same with Ryan Coogler as well, the director, close friend of Chadwick Boseman. And exactly. I was like, cool, I need to make a movie that made my friend famous without my friend.
Exactly. Yeah. Even like the one actor you didn't mention there, Denai Guerrero as well. She was really good. She's like, she's supposed to be this like fearless warrior, but she shows a lot of emotion in the movie as well.
Yeah.
In terms of like the overall film, like I kind of had a grand time with it.
You were hot.
Yeah. Oh man, especially the bits in the water. I was like, I'd love to be in that
water.
I'd
love a sip of water. Yeah. My God.
Yeah. So my biggest criticism of this movie, and it's probably a criticism of Ryan Coogler himself, is he gave us one of probably the best boxing scenes in film history in Creed.
Yeah.
Like the first fight scene in Creed, it literally starts from Creed is walking out, and it follows him all the way through him kind of warming up in the ring, and then fight, first round, second round, knockout. Literally just the camera follows him the whole time. It's like, it's one of the most dynamic fight choreography scenes I've ever seen in a movie. And just for me, not only this film, but also in Black Panther 1, I just think some of the action is really disappointing.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen a lot more of it. Now, to be fair, I think they do a lot of interesting things with
the water,
Namor and the water and stuff. That's interesting. But I'm not going to, no spoilers or anything, but just towards the end, I was kind of just like, get to it.
It turns into a big
CGI
Marvel
fest.
CGI fest thing.
Now, that could be a Marvel issue more than Ryan Coogler or whatever. But no, just like, back to just like in terms of the good points, emotion wise, like just the fact everyone stood up, and it was a huge, kind of weight for a lot of people, I'd say, on this film, and it was a perfect kind of send off for Chadwick Boseman, and like he's gonna live on through I'd say all these movies, whatever, and they definitely gave him the right kind of emotion in this film. And again, it's that difficult thing of having someone that's so iconic, someone that's literally like made a character, and everyone, you know, after that first movie came out, it was such a huge hit, and it was such a huge hit for a lot of young African Americans,
absolutely,
right? Young Africans as well. So no, like I can't, unfortunately, like you can't really criticize it for anything in terms of that, but it just in terms of the overall action, I was a little bit disappointed. I would have liked to have seen a bit more kind of dynamic, what we've seen from Ryan Coogler before, but yeah, as you say, just emotion wise was huge for an MCU movie. Something we probably haven't seen in a while. Like,
no, not since Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3, right. Not Endgame, no.
No, what happened to Endgame? Yeah, and also like another thing that, again, probably not Ryan Coogler's fault, I think CGI was very poor at times. There's one costume in this movie that honestly was just like, I can't believe they let someone put that on.
There's a couple of them, isn't it? Like there's
there's the Midnight Warrior Angel, whatever the fuck. That's appalling. Now apparently that's comic accurate, and I'm like,
don't know.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, Christian Bale sticking him in a grey spandex with black underwear on. It's like, it doesn't always have to be comic accurate.
There was just no scratches or anything on it. It was no scuffs. It was just so clean.
Yeah, it was very strange. Also, there's some weird science in this movie.
Yeah,
there was a weird science thing, and I'm so happy to give superhero movies a pass, but this made no fucking sense, and I was just so done with it. But yeah, I don't know. If you're not, I'd say watch it if you watch the MCU, but like I wouldn't be like, you need to go watch this.
I wouldn't even rush to it.
Nah. Wait for it to come on Disney Plus so you can pause it.
Yeah.
And if you're too hot, open a window.
Get some water.
Get a sip of water in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it's a long one. Jesus, yeah. I think they could have cut 20 minutes.
Ironheart shouldn't have been in it.
Yeah.
I think Emmerich Ross, is that his name? Martin Short.
Yeah.
My brain is Martin Freeman. Oh my God.
And Andrew One Veep.
Yeah. That's not too much to spoil. But yeah, I should cut them out. Just bin them. Just focus on the Wakandans and just go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I would have liked to see more of that kind of Civil War aspect between not the Atlanteans. What are they called?
Place.
Namorians, let's just say.
Namorians,
and the Wakandans, just a bit more of that.
Yeah, I actually, just speaking of Civil War and speaking of, like, there was a really interesting kind of UN scene at the beginning.
Yeah.
Again, run by Angela Angela Bassett.
Oh, actually, sorry, that's a good scene because it's intercut with the other film.
But initially, there's a weird cut, and you're like, wow, that's really shit.
Yeah.
But then it's cut in with another scene,
doesn't it? Yeah.
and it's a really great way to open the movie. And again, I think that should have been, that conflict is more interesting than, oh, there's another Iron Man running around. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I didn't enjoy. Yeah. I enjoyed that. I was a big fan of that scene, and
again, it's something like we've seen in other films this year with, like, say, The Woman King or whatever, having African nations have some sort of power over the rest of the world or whatever, and just like seeing that dynamic that like you have these people that have like conquered this continent and now they still have something that they want or whatever and they can't have it. It would have been interesting to kind of have a bit more of that. But again,
it's a Marvel movie.
Yeah, exactly. There's only so much they can do.
There's only so much they can put weird, shitty jokes into the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. So what about this new movie then, with John Spam in it?
John Spam.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Confess Fletch?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I said his name right now. What? Because it's not like I'm going to call him a different thing each time. That would be ridiculous. But no, continue with our nomination for Best Actor with Johnny Bacon.
Johnny Bacon, okay.
This is the joke. This is the producer joke.
This is the producer
joke. You can
joke.
roll with it if you want.
Okay. Okay, so Confess Fletch. This is a very small movie. I didn't even know about this at all this year, whatever. According to my sister, she had seen a trailer for this like ages ago.
Where?
Yeah, I don't know, on YouTube or something like that. And
she must have been down in like some local cinema, or I don't know, in like the IFI.
Yeah, and she was just like, oh, that's interesting. And then even like, I remember when I was like planning to go see it, I was like, you know, we could go see Armageddon Time, or we could go see, what was the other one? Something else. And I was like,
Spirited.
Yeah, something like that.
We're not doing Spirited. We'll do it next month for Christmas. Yeah. And I have a bad movie to pick next month.
But yeah, I was a bit like, I hadn't looked into it at all anyway. This was such a fun time. I really enjoyed it. And it's my type of movie. It's that kind of like
stupid humor, silly situations.
Yeah. There's a bit of a mystery to it. You don't really get what's going on, and you just have this like character who's just.
You're a big fan of this character.
I just love him. He's just so sure of himself. He just and like even the opening scene where he's with the cops, that's just like, it sets you up so nicely.
So
for the rest
it's
of the
about
movie.
this movie where this person has enlisted John Hamm to help them get these painting backs because their father has been kidnapped, and then just John Hamm just keeps getting caught up in fucking police investigation where he goes, it's not me, but I'm an ex-investigative journalist, let me do this.
And
it goes back to what you're saying, he's so sure about himself.
Sorry, I should have actually
I was just trying to
run through the plot a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of this mystery drama, if that makes sense. But like some of the humor and some of the characters are just so funny.
One in particular that I'll get to in a bit.
Yeah,
but a great role for John Hamm.
Yeah,
because I think he's so funny.
Yeah,
but he just never seems to get cast in the like. Have you ever seen The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
No.
He's really good in that. He plays the pastor, also called Gary, and that's not important, but it's important to me. No, but he's and he's so funny in it because he's allowed to be so wacky, and I feel like Hollywood is like, he's the serious guy.
Well, ever since Mad Men, he's just the typecast.
It's the A-Team movie. He's like generic CIA guy.
Yeah,
but I think he loves these type of roles, and I think this is the best situation for him, where he's the straight man with these weird fucking bonkers characters around him, and it just makes every line he says so funny. And I just would love to see, and like this. So Fletch, if anyone doesn't know, is based on a book.
Yeah.
They had two movies from 1985 and 1987 with Chevy Chase in it, and I can talk a bit about it later, but they've been trying to make a third movie for years, and some of the names are crazy who've been attached. But I want to see more of these type of movies, because they obviously, the budget seems quite low, and John Hamm would 100% be up for it, I'd say.
Big time, yeah. I mean, like, it all takes place in Boston as well, but Boston, like, for movies that take place in Boston, there's usually that kind of Boston humor or whatever. It didn't really need it. It didn't rely on it or anything like that. And then like there's this whole kind of weird situation. He's part of this, I don't want to say royal family, but like a wealthy family from Italy, and gets involved with them, and like a couple of them are kind of weird and wacky and stuff, and it was just so surprising to see something like this. And it's short enough. I think it's only like 140 or something like that. and it's just, it clips along at a pace. The quips in it are fucking hilarious. Like, it's just that kind of situational humor as well, which is really fun. But again, as I said, like, again, go in as blind as you can, because, like, for me, it was just such a surprise to have such a kind of fun movie. There's no promotion to it. There was absolutely I haven't seen him on a talk show. I haven't seen him.
See, if you told me this was a Hulu movie, I'd be like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was in cinemas, I find it crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. We've seen 2 detective movies this year. Well, recently, with Glass Onion as well. And I think obviously Daniel Craig is hammering it up a lot there, and I want to see more of that character. But I would love Fletch to, you know, have more movies. There's like 13 books, I think.
Yeah.
They've obviously done this, the 3rd one they've done now. But like, there's definitely more scope there, I think, for it. And I think. And again, speaking of great actors, this movie, like you said, the supporting cast are fantastic, but not only because they're so silly, but it's just fantastic to see so many female comedians in a movie like this.
Yeah.
Because usually, like, I think about The Other Guys, which is a movie we also love, which is kind of similar to this in some ways.
Same
There's
vibe.
there's a mystery and there's weird, wacky characters they interact with. But there's maybe only one other female character in that, which is the wife of the guy, and that's about it. And all the others are kind of,
Eve Mendes.
no, sorry, the
sorry,
it's like the one that loves Will Ferrell and wants to sleep with him, but the other guy's cool with it.
Yeah.
Am I explaining that?
No, yeah, I know who you're talking about, the blonde guy.
Yeah, but the listeners are probably like, sure, Gary, whatever.
You come into my house.
Yes,
you disrespect my wife.
You don't sleep with my wife. Why don't you go watch the other guys? But no, this movie has great, and I like this. Like, again, I think the cast, they're kind of like, you'd know them, like, oh, they're from this thing. But I am going to take this opportunity to talk about Annie Mumolo. Mumolo.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce her name. She's from Barb and Star. I've got a Vista Del Mar. So already I was like, I'm happy to see this person.
Yeah.
But I know I make grand sweeping statements on this podcast all the time, but I think that the scene with her in the kitchen, I think, is the funniest scene I've seen this year in a movie. It's so fucking good. It's just I don't want to give any of it away, but all of it is that so John Hamm is in this house and someone has been murdered, which is not spoiled at the beginning, and that's why he's getting investigated by the police. And he goes to investigate. He talks to the next door neighbor, and she invites him in, and it just proceeds to be such chaos. And it's unrelenting. And again, this is what I mean about John Hamm. John Hamm plays it so well, because he does
some of the faces,
some of the facial expressions, some of the little questions he asks about. It's like, oh, you're gonna use that now. There's a dog in it, and it's just, people have to go watch it for that scene alone. It's so good.
Sorry, just the other one I was going to mention is John Slattery in it. He has a very small role, but I just loved it. You know, a fishbowl. He's mentioned the fishbowl.
Lucy Punch as well is great. She plays this person who is part of it's like the home decor kind of vibe. And there's a conversation with her and John Hamm where he is trying to get information from her, but he's pretending to be a journalist to do an article on her. And she's like, oh, this is bespoke, and he goes, what does bespoke mean? And she's like, oh, well, you know, we bespeak of it. It's so silly. But no, it's a fantastic John Hamm movie, but also, like I said, that supporting cast.
I do kind of worry it might be just like too up our street.
Yeah, I think it is very up our street.
Did anyone else see this? Did you see this?
No,
okay.
No one has seen it, David.
I know. I went with Georgina and she enjoyed it.
Okay, well, that's a person. Yeah, that's not us. So therefore, 100% success rate so far.
Exactly.
But like I said, with other people making this, so it's got Zach Braff was attached. Jason Lee, Ben Affleck, who else? Jason Sudeikis was attached at some point. Like, it's crazy who's been jobbing. Like, but again, it's changed. Brad Pitt, Jimmy Fallon. Like, wow, I know.
As Fletch.
As Fletch.
Wow. Yeah. You would have hated that.
I would have burned this movie to the ground. But yeah, it was crazy that there was like all these different people who were attached. But like, again, I don't think I could see anyone else but seeing John Hamm do this. Yep. And I think I said it to you as well, where they're redoing Naked Gun with Liam Neeson, which I think is fantastic casting. But I think seeing John Hamm in this, I feel like he could also do a similar thing like that. We do have some honorable mentions for this category as well. So we have Justin Long, from I'm not well, if anyone's guessed. I'm wearing a snood. Okay, so okay, if you're gonna out me for the snood thing, we were supposed to do this podcast 2 days ago.
I know, yeah.
But David was too hungover, and what did we do? We went out for your birthday last night, and who's hungover now? Me. But I guess we'll record. David, the commitment you have to this podcast that takes up so much of your time that you don't get paid for is in serious question right now.
You're welcome.
So yeah, I'm not well.
You didn't even drink that much last night.
I'm not well, Dave. It's my throat. So hence the Angela Lansbury slip-ups. And Justin Lin. The director of Aquaman. He is not in Barbarian. Sorry, Barbarian, Justin Long in that. Well, again, we're going to talk about Barbarian later. I think it's a movie my sister watched it and she hated it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. She couldn't believe I gave it 4 stars.
Does she like horror movies?
I think so. I think she wasn't a fan of the dark comedy elements, but I think, again, that's very much our
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think maybe that's why. You went to go see Sad Times at Armageddon.
Sad Times at Armageddon.
Or Armageddon
time, yeah.
You were saying Anthony Hopkins good in that?
Anthony Hopkins is brilliant in that. He's not in it enough. That's my big thing. He's like, he's probably bigger in a cameo, but like, he just has this kind of presence to him. He's really good in it. I just think he deserves. It's like, I know Anne Hathaway and Jeremy Strong are in it, and they're all right in it. Like, but he's just a different level.
Yeah. Have you seen The Father?
Not yet.
He's very good. Like, I was quite not annoyed, but I was like, oh, I can't believe he won this over Chadwick Boseman. And then because I didn't really like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom anyway.
Was that supporting or leading actor?
Leading.
Okay.
And then when I saw The Father, I was like, oh yeah, he's very good in that movie. Like, freakishly good. Like, I was like, does he actually have dementia?
Yeah.
Have they just dragged him out of a retirement home to do this? And I have one more nominee in here. Triangle of Sadness. Woody Harrelson.
Okay.
And again, I think it's very because we went with your girlfriend, and I think she had said to you, it was like, you two were the only ones laughing.
It was in Screen 9 as well.
Screen 9, where it's 20 seats.
Yeah.
And he's so good in it. He's not in it a lot, but when he is in it, he's very, very good.
Yeah. But again, for such a small movie, it's so funny to see someone like
so
that
big in it. Yeah, which I think maybe that helped a lot. Who are we giving Best Actor to, David? I don't think we do, or is there anyone else we need to throw in there?
So I think we have to give it to one of the Black Panther girls.
Yeah, I think Angela Lansbury. I think both.
What was the last movie she was in?
She murdered this role and Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
She was randomly in Glass Onion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Angela Lansbury. No, Angela Bassett was in Glass Onion. Angela Lansbury is in Black Panther.
They swapped it.
Yeah.
No, Angela Bassett, I think.
I think Angela Bassett, I think she's so good in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, because I think if I'm talking about Oscars this year, I think she deserves at least to be nominated, to win if not nominated. I think so.
Yeah. The only I would say Ralph Fiennes, but Ralph Fiennes is doing his own thing.
He's doing it the same as what he always does. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen a huge amount of Angela Bassett.
And like John Hamm is very good, but like it's not groundbreaking stuff.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sorry, what did I say there? I meant Johnny Pepperoni.
Johnny Pepperoni. Nice.
I spent far too long looking at types of pork. So will we get on to worst actor though?
Okay, you're gonna have to talk for a bit for this.
Well, yeah, because I don't even have anyone from Disenchanted. I just was like, I'll talk about it and then I'll find someone in it. So Disenchanted, for anyone who doesn't know, is the movie to the sequel Enchanted, which came out 15 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And it's all about the character called Ella. No, what's her name again? Yeah, it's all about Giselle, and she is a stepmother now. Oh yeah, you see where it's going?
They flipped the script.
So she's living in New York, and they're not happy about it. They're just like, this New York lifestyle, not for me. And they move to a city outside of New York called Enniskerry.
Enniskerry,
no, it's shot in Enniskerry, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they move to the city, and life's not going well because Giselle has a moody teenager. Patrick Dempsey has to commute ages into the city. They're not loving life, and they have a newborn. And Giselle's friends from the cartoon world, James Marston and Idina Menzel. How the fuck? How is he? Adila Menzel. They come and give a present of a wishing wand to the baby, the thing that can't speak, and they're like, yeah, use the wand and you can get a wish, kind of thing. And Giselle, being upset about missing the land, I forget what it's called. The cartoon. Oh, Andalasia, that's it, I think.
That's a questionable name.
Yeah, Andalasia anyway. So they miss it, and she wishes that her real life could be more like a fairy tale, and all of a sudden the world starts to change to be more like a fairy tale. But, as you might have picked up on it, stepmothers in fairy tales aren't always perceived to be the nicest, so Giselle is coming to terms with that, and then she's also having to deal with the sort of super mom of the community, played by Maya Rudolph, called Malvina Monroe, and, like being the queen of sorts of these mothers. She turns into the queen of this community, and it's all about trying to stop the bad things from happening. As you can tell, I loved this movie. Yeah, look, I watched it. I watched it because I wanted to see Enna Scary. It's Enna Scary, right?
Enna Scary, yeah.
I wanted to see it, and those are the best parts of this movie. It's fucking magical. It's so cool what they did. And again, maybe I'm being biased, but it's so cool. But from a script point of view, it's fucking shite. It's so bad. The songs are appalling. And I don't know much about songs. I love a bit of pogo, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But
your Spotify rap tells us all we need to know.
Guys, if anyone got us on the we got a few people Instagramming about the Spotify rap. So thanks for listening for the whole year. Yeah, I meant to say that. And thanks for donating to Movember. And I'm wearing a snood.
Thanks for listening to the podcast.
This is the podcast. And I'm really sorry about ruining your Iceland videos. But it's yeah. So where was I going with this? So the script is balling, and songs are shite, and Amy Adams fucking kills it. She is so good in this role, like freakishly good. Like, again, you see her do all the dramatic stuff, and she goes back to this role, which was probably like pre a lot of her Oscar nominations, and she's killing it, going like all in on it, and I think it's great. Patrick Dempsey's in the movie, and then what also is good about other people is
Patrick Dempsey is the movie.
I'm gonna nominate him. No, I don't know. He is given the most bonkers fucking side plot. He's barely in the movie, and it makes sense because I'd always see his Instagram of him farting about Ireland. I'm like, yeah, because he's nothing to do in this movie. He's not bad in it. It's just his character's horrendously underwritten and doesn't have anything to do. CGI is also appalling at times. Maya Rudolph's character is in the comedic role.
Isn't serious.
It's like evil queen.
Oh wow!
And she doesn't make any jokes.
Why would you?
Exactly.
Why would you cast?
I don't know.
A comedic actor.
It makes no sense at all. Yvette Nicole Brown's in it, and she's quite good. She's from Community. She's very, very good in it. And Oscar Nunez is in it from The Lost City. You know, the guy who plays the Mexican lad from The Office as well.
Oh right, yeah.
I think he's Mexican.
Yeah.
He's also, he's in it. It's a great cast. Again, it's appalling. The songs are awful. There's also one song in particular where the editing is, honestly, I nearly got a seizure. It's so fast and quick. It's painful. But yeah, look, and the reason why I want to talk about it here and on the podcast in general is I'm finding it really interesting that Disney has gone from a model of having these direct to DVD sequels in the past where they'd recast everyone and it was low effort and they just released it so people would buy it on VHS or whatever and have it on the Disney Channel. Whereas now we're in a society, David, we're in a world where Disney is doing a sequel to these things on a streaming service, so it's of streaming service quality, but has A-list talent in it. So we saw it with Hocus Pocus, we've seen it now with Disenchanted, and I'm finding it really interesting now to see like how much, because there's no blowback from this. Amy Adams is not going to be severely affected. Nobody, like, are we going to see people...
no consequences.
No consequences. So are we going to see actors getting like a shit ton of cash to go on a streaming service thing and it just being and just ruining the original? Because I don't know, I don't really remember the original too much, but I just remember just...
it was a fun time.
It was a fun time. But also, I think I was watching another reviewer and she was talking about how the original movie is all about her wanting to be independent and not marrying, and she starts her own children's clothing line. That's all gone for this one as well. But I think if I had to give a worst actor award from this, which I've put it in here, there's a fucking annoying squirrel, so I might give it that. I might nominate that, or Patrick Dempsey. I like taking down Hollywood A-listers like that, so I might nominate him.
He's not A-list.
Is he not? I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna nominate Patrick Dempsey. Why not?
Yeah, fair. I
think that's everything I have to say. But any questions? Any follow-ups? Sorry.
No, I'm delighted to hear Enna Scary looked good.
It did look very good.
I mean, like greatest country in the world. Like, what would you expect?
Yeah, big time. Anyway, we're talking too long about that.
Yeah.
She said, David, we don't have to talk about it fully now, but who's in this that we want to nominate?
Oh, I was going to talk about it here.
You want to? Yeah, talk about it here.
Because I feel like...
I was going to talk about it in Hidden Gems.
I don't really know if it's in there.
Okay, go for it.
We have way too many Hidden Gems.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a film about the start of the Me Too movement. It is about two investigative journalists from New York Times whose names are Jodie Cantor and Megan Twohey. They are played by Zoe Kazan and Carey Mulligan. Sorry, they are brilliant in it. First of all, I just want to say that they're brilliant in it. Everyone is actually brilliant in this. This is really kind of harrowing story, and I think the biggest problem I had with it was too recent. I knew, because I kind of knew where this is going.
So what is it about? Is it about the...
So it's just about the investigative journalism into the sexual assault allegations of Harvey Weinstein.
Okay.
So the movie starts off, it is actually this cool kind of epilogue monologue about Donald Trump, the allegations of his sexual assaults start coming out, and then it's around the 2016 presidential elections, and then obviously the kind of harrowing moment that he gets elected, having had all these allegations against him. And then it proceeds into kind of the Harvey Weinstein allegations, whatever, from different former employees of Miramax, former assistants, people just working on movies and stuff like that. So look, this was for me, like, obviously a hugely important film. I think for a lot of people this would probably be something that will really hit home. It'll be something that will resonate with a lot of people. For me, I found it was just a little bit too recent. I kind of knew where it was going, and I was kind of just like, get to it. It was just too slow for me. Yeah. Whereas,
which I have read is a lot of people's kind of issue with it.
Yeah. Whereas for me, I thought with the likes of Spotlight, or even other movies like All the President's Men, the other one I mentioned was
Post.
Yeah, The Post is another. The other one with Russell Crowe and fucking
American Gangster.
No, sorry,
Gladiator. That's not investigating Gladiator, David. Don't be ridiculous.
What is that movie?
Robin Hood.
State of Play. State of Play. And I know State of Play isn't actually is a fictional movie, but it's still that kind of same idea. So with those movies, I feel like there's a little bit more of just like, we need to get to the story, whereas this is just like slowly kind of drip feeding, and it's a little bit kind of annoying that way. But what I will say is there are moments where there are characters giving kind of testimonies or giving interviews to journalists which are just harrowing. There's just one where Zoe Kazan goes to Britain and meets a former member of like Harvey Weinstein's staff, and it's just like kind of this monologue, and it's really kind of, it hits home big time. There are Ashley Judd plays herself in the movie. I don't know if you know her. She's an actor, former actor, something like that. Like there's a lot of big names that are mentioned in this movie, like Wendell Paltrow and stuff is mentioned in it. So like it is kind of, it's amazing to see things where it's just like names that are involved in this. But anyway, on to the main point of worst actor. I'm going to say Donald Trump and Harvey Weinstein.
Can we give it to both of them? Fuck it. Yeah, why not?
So they're not actually in the movie.
But it's funny.
The thing is that Donald Trump...
Are they listed in
Donald
the cast?
Trump is on a phone call. And I definitely think it's your man from SNL who does it, because it sounds very like him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then...
Which, the new guy? Or... Alec Baldwin.
No, not Alec Baldwin. Sorry, the new bloke.
The new guy. Yeah, he's very good.
And then there is moments where Harvey Weinstein again is on a phone, and then there's one bit where you just see the back of him. Like he walks into the New York Times, you just always see the back of him or whatever. And I think that was a nice thing to do, because it's like you don't want to give this guy any kind of promotion at all. He doesn't deserve it. He's a horrible human being.
They're not listed in the cast, David.
Well, there you go.
I don't think we can give it to them. Does that mean we're going to have to Patrick Dempsey, you're worse than Donald Trump and Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, exactly. But what I would say is, like, I think this will resonate with a lot of people if they do watch it, if they do want to watch it, and if they're really interested in it. But just for me personally, I didn't think it hit home as much as I wanted to say.
I kind of, like, from what you're saying as well, I'm kind of hearing that, like, it builds a lot of the emotional beats and a lot of emotional tension and all that sort of human element to, like, as you would expect with a movie, like, building that up. But from a movie that's presenting itself as like an investigatory piece, that's kind of more the side you would expect to see quicker movement on.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, well that's going to be a really hard balance anyway, especially when it's such a touchy subject that you don't want to cheapen these women's stories, and you don't want to like.
But like,
I'm agreeing. It's such a fine balance. There's such a hard line to walk.
Yeah, I just found like there was no like. With those other films, there's like there's just a pace to it that you're like, we need to get to the heart of the story. Whereas with them, they're just like, they have all these interviews lined up and they're just waiting for them to like engage with them, and it's kind of just a bit like that.
You're also right about the SNL guy. He does voice.
Oh, he does the voice, yeah.
And someone else voices Harvey Weinstein.
So there you go.
So we can't give it to them. I'm sorry, Paddy D, but the worst. I feel there was no one else that I could think of.
Exactly, yeah.
See, I'm not giving it to someone from the Enola Holmes too. I could give it to one actress, but that's, again, I don't think it's her fault. I think it's a stupid, ridiculous fucking script. But same Patrick Dempsey, but like,
hard luck,
mate. I'm sorry.
Shouldn't have come out in November.
Okay, well, congrats to them. Congrats to them. Okay, what are we talking? We're talking about some hidden gems, David.
Oh, great stuff. A lot of hidden gems.
You've talked about She Said.
Yeah.
and I'm going to talk about a movie that we've briefly touched upon called Triangle of Sadness.
Oh, yes.
So this movie is another kind of eat the rich in a way. It's split into 3 parts: fashion, boat, and then
beach.
That was good. Yeah, beach. I was going to say what it was. No, okay, yeah. So this movie is a bit all over the place, as it does try to say quite a lot about a lot of different industries and a lot of different segments or parts of society. So how the movie starts is, I think, how it kind of goes on. I have a really interesting thing that I love about this movie. But we start with Carl, who's a male model, and we're witnessing this very cringy and awkward fashion shoot that he's doing, and I think it's just to kind of maybe highlight how ridiculous that world is. And then all of a sudden it's him and his girlfriend Yaya. They're out for dinner and she's not paying, and it's again more awkward tension moments like that, but it's, you know, they start talking about gender roles in society and such, and then, you know, it's them on an expensive yacht. I'm skipping along to prove, but like it's an expensive yacht where we're seeing even more types of these uber rich and different sort of why people have gotten rich in certain ways, and even like the fact that the boat exists and what services are provided on the boat. It's just, again, this very satirical view of the uber wealthy, and like you had said, the well-known, the people who are like influencers and such like that. And then there's that third bit that I won't talk too much on because it's a bit of a spoiler. But this movie is, again, it's a bit all over the place with what it does, but I think what it does fantastically well, and I turned to you at one point when we weren't laughing at this movie, because it is a comedy, is who the fuck is this director? Because in every awkward moment and tense scene in this movie, there is something annoying happening. Everything is tense. So there's a scene where Carl and Yaya are in a taxi and there's a window wiper making a fucking annoying noise, and you hate that, and the conversation's awkward. Then there's a scene of them on the boat and there's a fly going around. They're in an elevator and the elevator keeps closing. and then there's a scene with a dinner and the camera is literally moving like the boat is, and you're just feeling seasick. So there's these incredibly funny and tense moments in this entire movie. And it's like I said, so funny. But again, I think it does lose itself in a way of, it tries to do a lot. And I think the third act in particular goes off such a cliff edge in that, like, oh, this is really funny. And I spent a lot of this movie being like, oh, I get what you're saying here.
Yeah.
But like, we kind of peaked somewhat in the second act. So wind it back a bit. But yeah, so it's a bit hard to talk about because it is a bit all over the place. It does jump around a bit. But for me, it's some great performances in it. Woody Harrelson is an absolute standout. But I think Harris Dickinson is having a fantastic year between this, Kingsman, and See How They Run. But there's also some other great people in it as well. Dolly D. Leon, who plays Abigail, is great. You know, the one who is... And there's a great person who is in charge of the boat as well. Yeah. She's fantastic. Again, she's a bit like... I don't know, Again, I'm trying not to spoil it too much, but the last person I want to talk about is a guy called Zlatko Buric, who plays Dmitri.
Oh, is this the Russian?
Yeah. And he's fantastic in it as well. So some great performances, very funny, very awkward. Has some really interesting things to say, but probably it gets muddled a bit by how much it tries to do. And yeah, it's a bit hard to watch at times because it's just a bit... it's a bit more
physically and emotionally.
So I did a bit of a spiel there, but I don't know. I probably should have prepped that a bit more. But
that was good. I think what happens in the third act is it becomes more message over substance. If that's the right kind of phrasing. It peaks in the second act when kind of all hell breaks loose, if that's probably the best way to say it.
Shit hits the fan.
And it has a lot to say about society, and when there's so much going on, and you're just kind of laughing at everything kind of happening to these people. But again, it's the same thing as with the menu. It's like there's such an easy target, and I think that's probably a little bit of a detriment to the film in terms of like it being, say, a critical view. But I had a great time with it. It's just, again, a lot of it is that silly humor that we just enjoy so much.
Woody Harrelson and your man Dimitri have a fantastic scene. And again, I think you have to watch it with someone else. I don't think you can watch this by yourself.
Oh yeah.
Especially there's some scenes in it as well, but like it's enjoyable, but also it's like you can't believe what you're watching. But like, again, it's satirical, but like there's stuff that happens in it where the super rich are put in situations where they are forced to really show who they are. And when they make the decisions you expect them to make, you're like, I fucking knew it.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, the other thing was for me was like by the time we hit about halfway, I was struggling. I was like, where is this going? Like, I was like, you can't empathize with any of these characters. You like, there's no one here that I'm like, I could even sit down and have a pint with and like enjoy myself.
Oh, Dimitri.
Well,
what are you talking about?
But then certain things happen, and you're like, oh, I've completely switched my view now because the film has taken its turn.
Yeah,
and it's taken a turn in the right direction. Or the wrong direction for certain people. But yeah, as I said, I don't want to say too much about it. It's that whole thing of kind of the satiric, crude satire of the super wealthy, but also the hypocrisy of the super wealthy at times, and their dealing of certain situations.
Yeah. Like even that scene with your one and the staff member to get in the pool.
Or get into the water.
And like even the rich being like, yeah, the sails look very dusty. They should be cleaned. And then your one who's in charge of the boat being like, oh, absolutely, we'll look after that. And then someone being like, there's no sails on the boat.
This is electric.
It's an electric boat.
There's a
motor, and it's just nonsense. And like another, like the fact that there's an engagement rings available on the boat to purchase at like 20 grand. It's all so, but like it probably exists. It's probably a thing. It's crazy. And then the last, we're gonna move on now.
Yeah, go for it.
Then the last movie we were nominating for Hidden Gem is with Johnny Rib Roast, Confess Fletch.
Oh yeah. That was the last one. Okay. Yeah.
Well, there's also some there's honorable mentions in The Wonder, Wendell and Wild, The Watcher, and Weird, but we can do our Hidden Gem now and then fly through those.
Yeah. I think so. Confess Fletch, Triangle Sadness, and
Triangle Sadness.
Sorry, give me the list again.
Yeah, one sec. Triangle Sadness.
Yeah.
Oh, Watcher. You have Watcher in here, I think. But Watcher getting it?
It's not getting the award, but I can talk about it.
No, it's like what I was just
actually no, I'll snap through.
But that's like that. We'll keep that in the quick picks.
Quick picks.
Oh, quick picks. Yeah, we'll think of something for that. And then Confess Fletch and She Said. Because I don't think Bones and All is a hidden gem. I don't think Disenchanted. No. I don't think Enola Holmes. I don't think Barbarian maybe, but like that's so big now over in the States especially. Wendell Wild now again. Okay.
I think there's only one correct answer here. It's Triangle Sadness.
Triangle Sadness, really? Not Confess Fletch?
No, I think Triangle Sadness is fun. Is like
you're gonna hurt John Larden's feelings.
The more I think about it, the more ridiculous Triangle Sadness. Now, do you know what? I probably would say Confess Fletch is a better movie, but Triangle Sadness just like
it's more obscure.
It really went for it. Like
Oh, you're not aware of the work of what's his name? Rustin Östlund. Oh, he had a great movie this year. You know, you can just sound like an absolute prick when you're saying like, "Oh, you should watch Triangle Sadness."
Because there's other movies he has done. He did another one.
He did one called The Square, which apparently is quite good. And then there's
the one up in Tala.
Ah, yeah, he did that.
He did Force Majeure as well.
Yes, the one that had a horrendous
American remake.
Because I think that's what he was saying. I remember reading an article, or was it an article, or maybe it was Mark Commode or something, where the director loves putting characters in situations where they make the wrong choice. So I think Force Majeure is about there's an avalanche coming and your man runs away rather than saving his kids. And then they remade it with Will Ferrell and it's not as good apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we're giving it to Triangle of Sadness. Wow.
Get out and see it if you can.
Yeah. Quick fire thoughts. Quick pick thoughts with Gary and David. Well, I might put music in, or maybe I'll put in that we like to move it. These are
so hot, so spicy.
So hot and spicy quick pick flicks with Gary and David. I think the name should be longer than the segment.
Yeah, just keep adding stuff.
Yeah. Okay, we've got 5 movies in here. We've got
5 movies.
Yeah,
we've got 5 movies, 5 minutes. Go.
Okay, you're doing The Wonder. Wait, let me look at the time. Okay. Now, okay, go.
Okay, so The Wonder is Florence Pugh. She goes to Ireland. She's a nurse. She's looking after a girl who hasn't eaten for like 4 months. And it has a lot to say about religion. Has a lot to say about the old times when families maybe preferred certain members of the family over others and stuff. It's heavy.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like it because it was a bit awkward.
It was weirdly framed as something as a parable or a fable, but it's shot like a thing that happened where it should have been more mystical.
So that was the other thing. About halfway through, I'm like, what does this nurse have anything to do with Orange? She's and then something happens. She learns about a certain story, and it kind of flips your thoughts. Yeah. What I would say is, if you have like an hour and a half on Netflix, give it a go.
Florence Pugh's great in it.
Florence Pugh is great. She's always great.
She's great.
We wouldn't know if this took place in Ireland.
It's in a field and a house. Those are the two locations.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
No, that's it.
Weird, the Al Yankovic story. So this is a parody of biopics. It stars Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al Yankovic, and it is some very, very funny jokes in it, especially if you're a big fan and you know a lot about Weird Al. How he's able to parody his life as a parody artist is very funny and quite interesting. However, the movie kind of, for me, lost a bit of steam where I was kind of like, oh yeah, okay, much like a parody song, you're okay, I get what you've done here now, but it's not entertaining anymore because it's just all a joke.
Once you hear the first verse, the first chorus,
exactly.
You're like,
yeah. But like the performance is great. Daniel Radcliffe's in it, which is very, very good. There is one scene in particular with a fuck ton of cameos that is incredible and worth watching. If you're a big Weird Al fan, you really like it. It's only an hour and a half. It's on the Roku channel. You know where that is. And it's a great airplane movie, I would say.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Armageddon time.
So we have a young boy, and he's part of this family, and it's about him being part of the public school system, and he's interacting with a lot of people from different cultures and stuff, but his family, who have come from Jewish origins, don't want him being part of that culture or whatever, and prefer him to move to a more private school. So it has a lot to say about society again, and certain parts of society that, you know, aren't welcome or aren't as, you know, accepted. There you go. Yeah. But what I will say, I mentioned earlier, Anthony Hopkins has a great role in it. There's this whole bit where he is kind of the leader of the family, and a certain thing happens, and it causes the family to kind of fall apart and stuff, and it really creates a huge toll on the rest of the family. Jeremy Strong is great in it. He is some incredible scenes in it, some disgraceful scenes as well, but in terms of like
what he does,
and then Anne Hathaway is alright in it. She's not in a huge amount, she's very emotional, whatever. Kid is a little bit annoying, but I'm not going to hold that against him. A little bit disappointing overall.
Cool. And it's the only movie you gave a red light for as well this month.
Yeah, I wouldn't go out and see it. If it's on Netflix, the main reason for that is it was on cinemas. I was like, nah. Yeah, fair. Don't waste your money.
Wendell and Wild. Speaking of streaming movies, this is a movie done by Henry Selick, who people would know from Nightmare Before Christmas, the other one, James and the Giant Peach, and Coraline. So, saw this coming on Netflix. Thought it was really interesting because it's all stop motion and it's fucking really cool. It's really cool how he does it all, and like even things like he shows a shot of like a car going over ice puddle and the ice breaks and the water splashes up, like all these intricate shots. You're like, this is so cool, but the movie itself is not as enjoyable as maybe as I liked. I don't know, I went in with a bit of nostalgia and I'm like, oh, it's not as good as Nightmare Before Christmas, but then again, I probably could watch that movie now and not think the same. Voice cast is great. You've got Keegan-Michael Peele and
Michael Peele. Which one is it, Gary?
You got Keegan Peele back. It's their first comedic pairing since the show. They're very good in it, and there's some other great voice casts in it as well. It's all about the Brits being at it, which I'm a big fan of, seeing them being taken down a peg or two. But the movie kind of loses its magic for me, a bit of steam. The story's a bit meh. No, it's just all just to be able to see that world again of Henry Selick and just see how see it again in 2022. I think it's great.
So my big question would be, do you see a huge difference between what was done previously to now?
I think so. I think it is. I think it's way better. It's really, really slick and really cool. But again, I don't know. He wrote and directed it, and he wouldn't have written the other ones.
Exactly.
So I wasn't a big fan of it in that sense. Also, there's some weird music in it. Well, see, he did a really cool thing where all the music is from black artists, but like I just feel like the songs didn't fit the scenes, and I was like, it just took me out of it rather than appreciating their inclusion.
Where have we seen that earlier in the year? Elvis.
We'll talk about that in the end of your awards. Okay, we're definitely over these 5 minutes. We don't get to talk about The Watcher then.
Oh, boo.
Okay, do you want to talk about The Watcher?
Yeah. Okay, so The Watcher is about an American girl who is I don't know if she's engaged. She's going out with the guy from Romania, and they've moved to Romania.
Okay.
And what happens is they move into this nice kind of new apartment, and across the street there's someone that keeps kind of looking in at her every time she's in there on her own.
Oh, he's watching her.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the name of the movie.
But I wouldn't say this is unique in a huge sense, but the biggest thing I found with it is because it takes place in Romania and because you have a character who doesn't know Romanian, the idea of the language being like this kind of parting ways between her and kind of society was huge, and I thought they used that really, really well.
Okay.
This whole idea that she is so isolated from everyone else because she doesn't know the language, I thought was really good, and they use it really well. So there's like no subtitles in it, even though like most of the movie takes place in Romanian.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And then look, there's a few moments of tension. There's a bit of horror scenes. There's that whole kind of mystery of who is this person across the road. So yeah, like again, worth a watch if it was on Netflix. Probably.
Well, they have The Watcher on Netflix. They can't have The Watcher on Watcher.
Exactly. Yeah.
Amazon Prime.
Although what I would say is, if you could find it in cinemas, again, it's only 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It's probably a good time if you don't want to be too spooked, but you want to leave a little bit spooked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Much like Wendell Wild. That's a very spooky movie.
Also, there's a bit at the end I really enjoyed. I'll tell you about it after.
When it ended.
No, just there's a bit towards the end.
Okay. Well, that was about 5-6 minutes. I think it was like, I don't know, 5.5 minutes.
That's quick hot pits. That's quick hot pits.
The quick pit stop with Gary and Dave talking about quick fix for 5 minutes.
Sponsored by Red Bull.
And black tar coat heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had nowhere to put those, but it was just easier to fly to them all. Because we watched them, and by God, we're going to talk about them.
Yeah.
Speaking about talking things, podcast. Okay, blatant muck. So in here, we have Armageddon time.
Yeah.
We have Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Because
I
don't know, it's an MCU movie. I'm throwing them in there these days. It's like, and Bones and All.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fair.
Well, see, Bones and All. I'll talk about Bones and All. Do you want to talk about Bones and All? I'll talk about Bones and All.
No, you go for it. I haven't put my review up.
Yeah, but your review, yes, it doesn't count. Bones and All, yeah, it's a movie with Timothée Chalamet and your one's name, Taylor Russell, yes.
Yeah.
And she is invited over to a sleepover, and her dad is very protective of her, keeps her locked in her room, like when she's home from school and stuff, so she can't get out. And all of a sudden, she sneaks out to this sleepover, and something bad happens. And from that, there is a discovery that she craves human flesh. And so her father has been dealing with this her whole life, and then has decided, now you're 18, you have to go on your own and look after yourself, because I can't do it anymore because her mother's no longer in the picture. And on her first stop to her she has her birth certificate, so she's trying to find her mother. And on her first stop, she is stopped. She is watched upon by Mark Rylance's Sully, who I actually meant to put into Best Actor, by the way.
Yeah,
I fucking love that guy.
Yeah.
So he comes upon her and all of a sudden recognizes her as one of his own, in that there are more people out there that have this sort of craving. And it is all about Taylor Russell trying to locate her mother and finding people along the way who, like Timothée Chalamet's Lee, who also is similar to her, but also trying to understand just, herself as a person, what's this sort of lifestyle going to look like for her, because she's understanding that different people have different approaches on it, and find her mother, understand where she came from, what's her deal, and maybe fall in love with the beautiful eyes of little boy Timothée Chalamet.
Little boy, big actor.
Little boy, big appetite.
So yeah, like, in one sense, I'm like, this is an interesting story conceptually wise. I don't know if they really hit home properly with me. I just thought with the whole, I think it should have been more fantastical.
So I knew nothing about this movie.
Yeah.
And when I saw Mark Rylance pop up and he was like, I'm also a cannibal, I'm like, whoa, cool, there's a whole world set up here. So it's based on a book.
Yeah,
and I didn't know that until the end.
Yeah.
And when I saw it based on the novel, I was like, cool, that makes so much sense, because there's a bigger world hinted at here that we don't see. But also, you can tell because story beats kind of happen so quickly and the movie kind of drags in parts, because they're like, then they go here and this happens, and then they go here and this happens, and it's very quick in that sense. But also, I think the movie's trying to balance the romance element of it with Timothée Chalamet and Taylor Russell, but also try and also have that sort of bigger message around, like, what does it mean to live, and what does it mean to, like, who are your community, and like who do you want to surround yourself with, and who are you as a person, what are your views on life, and blah blah blah. There's that sort of element there. So that's kind of interesting, but I think it does tip towards more, I think Mark Commode called it Twilight Hannibal. Cannibal Twilight.
Yeah.
And I think it tips more towards that. I think it only being talked about and reviewed as well because it's stylistically very beautiful. Yeah. Like some of the shots are great, some of the music is great. But I don't think if this was a different director, I think with this script, I think it would have been trash. I think it would have been and a much worse cast. I think it could have been really, really bad because I like your man Luca. Him. He did Call Me By Your Name. I saw a great review on Letterboxd. I was like, this is clearly Timothée Chalamet and Luca G working through the fact that they had to shoot a film with Armie Hammer. So I think it's really beautiful in that sense, and there's a great sense of unease throughout the movie, but I just don't think it hit home in anything it was trying to achieve.
Yeah, like I think
that sounds very harsh, but like
I think like if you were to say the analogy I'm going to use here is a bit strange, but if you imagine it as a house, like it's a really well built house, okay, really well built, but inside just the atmosphere is off. Yeah, that's kind of the idea I got, because like it's like, as you say, aesthetically it's beautiful, well structured in terms of like shots and stuff like that. It's kind of well set up that way, but just the atmosphere is a bit off.
The tone does change a bit, I find as well.
Yeah, like from almost from scene to scene, it's just like there's a shift, and it just there's no consistency to it. But again, I found like my biggest thing was just the whole cannibalist side. I'm just like, and I know the fact it was based on a book probably is the reason for that, is like why it was added, or why it was included. But I just found it like relatively unnecessary. I was like, and I don't know, but I guess I suppose you brought up the point, the whole idea of community, and Taylor Russell's character is kind of is fighting with the idea of like, how does she survive in a world, like she sees what her life could be like if she continues the way she's going, and that's kind of the idea. But I suppose they could have made it a bit more kind of less realistic, if that makes sense.
But performance wise as well, Timothée Chalamet is very understated. Like he doesn't do too much in it.
He's more of a side character. Well,
absolutely. Taylor Russell's great in it. I'm excited to see what she does next. It's been a great month, or a great year, for these sort of movies with strong female performances of like new actors. And I'm very intrigued. Like even stuff like Everything All at Once. I forget the name of the actress there, the supporting actress there, from Prey to I don't know if you want to include some, even the Florence Pugh stuff, and even like, so like it's just been a great year of like, I don't know. I'm very excited to see what comes next from a lot of these actresses. But Taylor Russell included for sure. Mark Rylance is so creepy and so fucked, and I loved every moment of it. Again, I've told you, I'm a big fan of him since Don't Look Up. Ever since he knocked that out of the park, I've always been on board. Michael Stuhlbarg, I think he pronounced his name, is in it, and David Gordon Green, the director of Halloween, are in it in a very creepy scene. And so the performance is all good. I can see why all just something was off about it. You know what I mean?
That's all I have to say, really.
So in terms of blatant muck.
But again, like you would have expected this to have a better.
Well, the fact that it was at the Venice Film Festival, I got a 10-minute standing ovation.
That's bullshit.
Like so, I know everything does, but I'm like, this is not a Venice movie.
Well, you compare. Well, the biggest thing is I compared this to Banshees. Like I think it was way off Banshees. I know you don't like Banshees.
Both are bad. I'm like, yes. What is the most disappointing movie this month?
Give us the list there.
So I have Bones and All, Black Panther, and Armageddon Time, but we might be able to find another one there. I wasn't disappointed by Triangle Sadness, Well in the Wild. Weird Al, that had no right to be good.
No, I think it is Bones and All. Just in terms of like having all the talent there.
You haven't
it should be Oscar worthy.
Yes.
Yeah. And it wasn't.
Bones and All.
Bones and All, yeah.
There you go.
Don't eat
Late
people.
muck.
Don't eat people.
Yeah, don't eat people, guys.
Yeah.
And be respectful on people's holiday when they're recording a geyser. And some people wear snoods, and that should be okay.
The other thing I was like, would you not cook the meat?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where the meat has... Oh, sorry, can I mention the other thing, actually? Speaking of Raw, go watch Raw.
Go watch Raw, yeah.
Raw is a fantastic movie. It's a co-production from Belgium and France, and it's from 2016 or something like that. It does everything this movie does, but 50 times better.
Is it in French?
It is in French, yeah. But it's so fucking good.
Oui,
c'est bon. C'est magnifique. Go. Everyone should. This is like the one thing for this. Go fucking watch Raw.
Yeah.
It's so Dave. I'm looking at you.
I know. Yeah, it's not on anywhere.
Fucking find it. Go to France. But you love Belgium. Get over there. No, it's that movie does what this one does. Attempts to do. Yeah. It's Bones and All. 100%. Because you just could have done Raw.
Yeah, just do that again.
Just do Raw again with Timothée Chalamet.
Do a remake.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah,
is there a Timothy Chalamet-esque character in Raw? Or could you just...
Sorry, Joe's really... No, there isn't, but I was remembering the scene because I was thinking of the remake because there's a scene where they extract shit from a horse. So, yeah, is there a Timothy Chalamet character? I don't know, but there's a horse's ass in that movie.
Good stuff.
Poovy the month, speaking of poo.
Poo, yeah.
I've only got 2 in here, Enola Holmes and Disenchanted. I realise I'm doing 2 back to back, sorry.
Nah, don't worry.
But this will be quick. So Disenchanted, that's just a bad movie. Enola Holmes 2. Enola Holmes 2 probably could have been a blatant muck, but I still don't have high, like I wouldn't have high hopes for that sort of Netflix movie anyway.
I don't even remember the first
one. They did a little recap of the first one at the beginning of this movie. I was like, oh yeah, forgot about that lad. Enola Holmes 2 is all about another mystery that Enola finds herself in as she tries to set up her own detective agency. She is investigating a girl whose sister went missing, and she realizes there's a bigger plot to it, and she has to enlist the help of her brother Sherlock Holmes, played by Henry Cavill. It's a fine movie. I think for me, there was a lot of fourth wall breaking in it that really pissed me off. It's just so on the nose. But there's some kind of cool elements in it. But again, I think a lot of those are stolen from either the TV show Sherlock or Guy Ritchie's Sherlock series as well. So I'm kind of like,
we're still waiting for the third.
I'm on the edge of my seat. We should have a list.
Yeah. We
should have a thing of like, where are these movies at?
The other guys too.
Fletch 2,
yeah.
With Johnny Chorizo.
Yeah.
I have a few more of those left. Anyway, but yeah, so it doesn't steal, but it borrows a lot from these guys, so it doesn't feel like I can attribute the movie any sort of praise besides the actors in it. So Henry Cavill's a great Sherlock Holmes. He's such a smug prick, and he's great for it. And Enola Holmes, Millie Barbarian, yeah. So personable, so likable, like does a good job. I don't really like the character again because she keeps breaking the fucking wall, and at the fourth wall I'm just like, just fucking talk to someone else for a moment. David Thewlis is in it. He's quite good and menacing. And there's some other people like Helen Bonham Carter's in it.
Who plays the brother? Mycroft.
He's not in this.
Oh, he's not.
No.
Who played in the first one?
Henry Cavill.
I think it was Sam Claflin.
Yeah, sure, why not? I know he's a big deal. He's in something else, isn't he?
Sure he is. David, a professional actor.
David, it's been a day, right?
Yeah. No, don't worry about it. Sorry.
Sam Claflin, there you go. I feel like he's in some... Oh, he was in that movie
Games.
with...
He's in Hunger Games.
And he was in the movie with...
You.
There you go. Why are you asking me these questions? You know what he's in.
I know.
Anyway, so yeah, for me, I was so fine with this movie. It was so bang average. And then there's this third act deduction scene that is honestly such hot garbage that I remember I asked my housemate, I was like, could you hear me on the other side of the wall? Because I said, fuck that. I was like, nah, I'm done. I was so checked out of the movie. It was so fucking stupid. I was so done with it. And for a movie that built itself on a mystery, for that to be the most disappointing part of the movie when it's solved, I'm just like, nah, can't be doing that.
Yeah.
Such bullshit.
Considering we've seen something else this month.
Yeah, exactly.
Much better.
But Disenchanted is the worst movie this month.
Oh, there you go.
But Enola Holmes 2, there we go.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's on Netflix. Not worth a watch.
No, but it's such a fine watch. Again, I just got pissed off by that third act reveal thing. But yeah.
But like, time is very important to people.
It is very important to people, yeah. And especially, I don't know, like, you look at something like Confess Fletch, that's an hour and 40 minutes of watching Johnny Hot Dog go around and solve a mystery in easy enough time. I've got like 6 more of these to go, so if we could try and mention that during...
Yeah. Jackie?
No, it all has to be a John and then pork meat, David.
Pork meat, okay.
Something like
Johnny...
Well, I have Johnny Pork Belly as well.
Okay.
But that's not one of my favourite ones, though. I'm more of a fan of Johnny Prosciutto.
Actually, yeah, sorry. No, I'll tell you later.
Okay, cool. Off pod?
Off pod, yeah.
Okay, cool. Right, okay, let's talk about the best movies of the month, David.
Give us a list.
So, for our nominees for this category are All Quiet on the Western Front, Barbarian, and The Menu.
Is that it?
Yeah. But also Glass Onion, but we're talking about that next month.
Oh.
I don't know, what else are you nominating here? What, do you want to nominate Banshees again, you big fucking nerd?
Nerd.
Yeah, you big nerd.
No, I suppose.
You love being sad, don't you?
Sorry, I was looking at Triangle Sadness and I was looking at Confess Fletch, but they're more hidden gems.
Yeah.
No, okay, in that sense, will I do All Quiet?
Yeah, you love being sad, don't you? Big sad boy.
All Quiet?
Yeah. After seeing Banshees, you just love being sad.
All Quiet. Shh.
No, I'm over here. This is the Eastern Front.
This is the Eastern Front.
This is the noisy town. That's what we call it over here.
Okay, so All Quiet on the Western Front is a Netflix remake of the film that came out in the 90s.
I wouldn't say it's a remake. I'd say it's a readaptation.
Retelling, let's say, of the film that came out in the 1930s.
One Best Picture.
German film about young men going to war in World War One. Look, this is a war film. I think this is probably the most hard-hitting war film probably since Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, I disagree.
Okay.
I tell you, Banshees is not good. Oh, sorry, but you're talking about All Quiet on the Western Front? I thought you were talking about Banshees again. Go ahead, sorry. I'm in a snoot.
So the idea behind this movie is you meet these characters, these young men from Germany, and at the start they're obviously young men in school and stuff, and they are just so enthusiastic about going to war, representing their country, becoming these sort of heroes.
They're still the most romanticized version of war.
Yeah. And unfortunately, when they arrive on the front, on the Western Front, they are met with one of probably the most hellish scenes they could probably ever experience. This is the type of film I would show to people, kids in school.
Yeah.
I would have like classes about like, you know, propaganda and all this bullshit that politicians and leaders try to tell you, that, you know, it's glory, you know, fighting for your country, stuff like that, you know. It comes back to that idea that we've seen in other movies, the rich versus poor, the different parts of society that are represented. And it is, at points, it is purely sickening what human beings can do to each other, and how certain characters in this literally play with people's lives just because, you know, they feel like they're entitled to.
For meters of land.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And as by the end, you're honestly like worn out. Like, it is a long movie, but it's hard hitting, and it's graphic, but it's necessary, I think, for a film like this. It's very necessary to have that sort of impact on the audience. The fact that it is a German movie, it's all all the dialogue is in German. But I think that adds to it even more.
Because I texted you, because what my Netflix assumed was like, Gary's not going to read it. And it put it on the English dubs automatically for me. And I was like, I'm not enjoying this as much at all. Because one, the actors don't seem as good. But two, it's weird to hear the British accents for what's happening as well. But, it's... And again, like, it's somehow harder to hear such bleak and despairing things coming from a human, and then having to see it printed on on the image that's being portrayed on a screen. It's I'll talk a bit more, but
no, that's fine. But yeah, I think that just adds to it. And the other thing is, look, we've seen a lot of war films from the perspective of the good guys, British ally,
good guys.
Well, yeah, look, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think there was any good guys in World War One. Like, it was just literally...
What about the doctors and medics, David? Huh? Yeah. What about the people who saved millions of lives? Okay, you hate it. We get it. You like seeing people in pain. You love Banshees with a shirt.
I love seeing fingers getting chopped. Yes. No, it's like, honestly, I think it was like, and by the end they summarized it that, like, this was a war that literally nothing happened. It was a war that was literally developed for the play toys of royal families in Europe and stuff like that. So, but in terms of this film, like, as I said, it's just... And the biggest point I want to make is the cyclical nature of the film as well, where we're met with a situation at the start of the film. We see our main character go through certain points in his life as part of the front liner on the war, and then by the end we see similar things happening to similar characters or similar type characters by the end. And just the whole kind of pointlessness of what just happened. Like, why were all those lives wasted for such, you know, unnecessary means? But as I said, like, this is just such a hard-hitting film. It's great to see these type of films being made, because it's the type of movies where it's not gratifying. Is that the word? Or it's not
glorifying.
Glorifying, war. Yeah. And it's not something where you're like, you're enjoy or not. What am I trying to say? Not enjoying it, but you're not.
It's doing the best job of representing what that sort of shit's like.
It's representative of what real war is like. But yeah, look, go on. I'm sorry. I'm just
I had no fun watching this movie. This was one of the worst movie watching experiences I've ever had in my life.
Yeah,
it's just not fun, and I didn't leave it being like that was good.
Yeah.
But my God, I think in terms of what it stands for and what it's trying to just remind, it's stupid that it has to be a reminder.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's crazy that this movie came out in 1930.
Yeah.
The book was written in 1927,
yeah.
29. They made a movie in 1930. Everyone loved it, won an Oscar, and then there was another war, and then I think they made another version in 1970 something, and then they've made it again. And it's just crazy that you
can have this story just on repeat.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, cool. You want to consider this? I feel like everyone in the UN should have to watch this every year.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think the reason why I prefer this to Saving Private Ryan is there's no A-list celebrities in it.
Yeah.
And there's no real.
Oh well.
Really A-list?
Oh, but he's recognizable.
Okay, fine. But like anyway, in terms of like in the trenches.
Yeah.
But what I find is it's just blank faces somewhat, because we don't know these guys. They're speaking a language we don't understand. So there's already such a disconnect from them. But what we know about World War One, and we're like, oh, the Germans, like the bad guys, like I kind of said, to then empathize with these people just as human beings rather than what they're actually doing and what they're fighting for, and just thinking like any human being in that situation, just get it. Like I want this person to not have to be there, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So how these actors and how the movie is able to just flip that, I thought was really, really, really interesting. And yeah, it's just not fun. It's bleak. It's brutal. It's gritty. It's raw. It's, from a production point of view, it's some of the best war simulation stuff I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Some of the sets they've built. And yeah, I just think some of the twists and turns the movie take, especially the last thing. Yeah, it's just like
heartbreaking.
Let me just fucking have a good Tuesday night here.
Exactly. Yeah. On the production design was incredible. It honestly. Like if of all the movies we've seen this year, I think this is probably, in production wise, I think is probably the best. Like
I know they built that pub in Banshees of Inisherin, David.
I was thinking about Batman as well. That had kind of a cool production design, but again, I just think this one looks like literally looks like you're in the trenches. I don't see anything else that's just built that kind of.
And then, like you say, there's
realistic set as much as this did.
And there's some of those scenes with the rich generals. The
contrast there as well between where they are and even where that general is towards the back of the front line or behind the front lines, and he's kind of commanding from there, and this whole area that he has to himself versus where our main characters have to just like sleep it day in, day out, whatever. What was I gonna say there? Sorry.
Production.
No, sorry, I was talking about production design. I can't remember what the other thing was about.
You're probably just thinking about how much you love Banshees of Inisherin. Sorry, I'll stop. But yeah, no, I think it's just a must watch for just historical preservation of just remembering. Just remembering that history and remembering those people that died. And you know, when movies telling a historical event, and there's usually those title cards at the end. Title cards in this movie just break you. Yeah, it's fucking rough. Anyway, people should watch it. It is not fun. But I think
the point I was going to make was just in a comparison to 1917. I feel like 1917 is the Hollywood.
It is, that's what I meant. Yeah, it's too. That's what I meant about
and people die in 1917, but it's not as hard hitting.
No.
The other point I was going to make is there's one scene in this, all right, and it comes back to this whole kind of human nature scene where you have our main character from the German side has a fight with a soldier from the other side, and there's this kind of conflict, and then there's kind of a settling down of the conflict and the human nature side of it, of what that character has been fighting for, and then what comes to him in that moment when the fight kind of peters out. And that was a moment for me that really stood out. I was like, that's a human moment more than anything. But yeah, look, this is get on it. Like,
but was this released in cinemas? I hope so.
I think it was released in some cinemas,
because I think it deserves.
Oh, I think it's Oscar.
I think it's a Best Picture nominee for sure. So yeah, I would love to see it do well.
We'll have the conversation, I think, probably at the end of next month. But I think the foreign language film this year could be very interesting.
I want or He won Best Director at the New York Critics Circle.
Yeah.
I want that movie to be recognized so much more. And and this and on Colin Kuhn as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, well, we get on to our last movie. So
last movie.
Speaking of barbaric things, Barbarian. This is a wildly different tone.
Yeah.
But it's a great one to end on, I suppose. Barbarian is a movie I don't want to tell people too much what it's about, but it is effectively about this woman who goes to stay in an Airbnb, and it turns out there is someone already living there, played by the spooky scary boy Bill Skarsgård. And all of a sudden he's being overly nice. And he's also being very like, oh, you're probably weirded out by this. You know, here, like, he goes to pour wine. He goes, I wanted you to see me open it in front of you, so you didn't think anything else. So super nice. But there's this eerie tension throughout, and you just don't know what's going to happen. And then it happens. And it builds for, let's say, 40 minutes for that. And then the movie does a big, not a U-turn, but it's like going up a diagonal line and then a complete drop off, and then builds the attention again.
Yeah, so my thing is it kind of reinvents itself about halfway through.
Which I think my sister didn't like that bit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But what this movie does is it's a fantastic horror movie in that it plays up to all the tropes, in that you don't walk down the spooky stairs by yourself. You don't do certain things, but the character does it, and like they do everything that you expect them not to do in a horror movie, and they do it like the characters that is. But then when it takes that sort of a reinventing itself, it then becomes a different movie.
Yeah.
But then links back up again and fuses together. There's three main parts of this movie that I tell everyone about. It has fantastic suspension and thriller. It has good steering and indications. Sorry, great suspense. And it's a thriller. Then there's also the horror element of it, and then there's the comedy element of it. And I think that's where me and you once again love a bit of a dark comedy. There's a scene with Justin Long that I'd put up there as one of the funniest movies. It's not as good as your one from Confess Fletch, with that actor whose name is Johnny Sausage.
Nice. Best for last.
On it, there's way more. And you can subscribe to the Patreon to hear that. But so it's really good comedy, and I think the visuals of the movie is fantastic. The score is really cool as well, and what they're able to these are fantastically complex words used by Gary O'Brien. What episode is this? 76. All I can say is cool. But no, again, and it's just very cool score, very cool visuals, very spooky. Cast as well is excellent. Your one, Georgina Campbell, again, another great actress. Really excited to see what she does this year. Carries this film so much. Bill Skarsgård is used so well. So well. The casting is great, and I'm really happy about that.
He's so awkward in it as
well. So awkward, but it's the fact that he looks so spooky and he played Pennywise that it just what his character does, that whole thing, great. Justin Long, fantastic. So there's a big mystery. Don't read anything about it. Just go watch it. It's a horror movie. It is very scary. It's a bit gory as well.
Yeah,
not gory, bits.
There's moments.
Yeah, and it's just a great modern day horror that subverts expectations fantastically.
Yeah, that's the biggest things I would say about it is subverts your expectations, but also reinvents itself. A little bit of a hint of social commentary in terms of
a little bit of social commentary in this podcast.
Yeah, well, no, it's just I think when it reinvents it, there's a little bit kind of put on it. Who is the real bad guy in this situation?
Who's the real bad guy? There's some of that stuff around gender roles. Yeah. Some of the stuff around the Hollywood elite as well, and the rich, and there's a bit of Me Too in this as well. Yeah,
but even what I was even going to mention is just like how people doing nice things have become so strange or so
cynical. People are cynical about that, or suspicious about nice things,
about things. People doing nice things like that, like two strangers in a house, and it feels like one of these must be a bad guy. Like you just assume the worst in people. So that was pretty fun. But yeah, like it's one of those. It's another one of those kind of surprises. There's been a lot of good kind of horror movies this year.
Yeah, Black Phone.
Yeah.
That's it.
Nope,
had some good surprises in it as well.
No, yeah, exactly. I was going to say Smile, but geez, that was
Smile.
That was.
Oh yeah, this was part of our. Was this part of our Spooky Monday tradition where we had two Spooky Mondays
back to back? Yeah. Watcher is another one. Sorry, this month, which was good. But yeah, as Gary said, just go watch it. Yeah, just find it. Go watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. But in terms of what's the best movie of the month, David?
So this is a tough one.
It is tough.
I think so.
So we're not doing Triangle Sadness, and we're not doing Confess Fletch with that actor John Tenderloin.
Tenderloin. Wow.
Tenderloin. Yeah, I have 3 more.
So it comes down to Barbarian, All Quiet, and
The Menu.
Oh, The Menu. Oh no, So in terms of my ratings, they're all 4.5, are they? Yeah, they're all 4.5. Okay, I'm gonna say Barbarian.
Wow, really?
Yeah, mainly because I think of the 3 of them, I think it's the easiest one just to dip into for anyone. I think like The Menu, I can see a lot of people just being like, nah, not for me.
Yeah.
And then All Quiet, I'm just like, I don't want to have to put people through that, but they should.
Yeah.
And it's long. Like, what is it, 240 or 230? Yeah, 230. And I'm just like...
So Barbarian... So it's funny because you have All Quiet on the Western Front higher up.
Oh, but that's my personal thing. Like,
okay.
This is more just like objective.
I was pointing out, I have Barbarian
fact.
4th.
Okay, there you go, yeah.
Also, what's this? You've Banshees of Inisherin.
Lad doesn't like it.
It's not even in my top 10, mate. Wow.
That's just objectively untrue.
Okay. Yeah. I'm happy with Barbarian. It just doesn't feel... It feels weird to give it to Barbarian over All Quiet. I feel like All Quiet is a more important movie, but in terms of what we enjoyed and I think is the best...
This is more about enjoyment than anything.
Is it?
Yeah, big time. Like, you have to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, well, okay. If we use the metrics of would we watch it again, would we recommend people to watch it?
I'm never watching.
Did we enjoy it?
That movie
no,
again.
never again.
Never watching that movie again. Once was enough.
This is All Quiet, is it?
All Quiet.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Banshees.
Lad, you only just come up with that joke like halfway through after the break.
I'll edit.
I'm gonna dig right in on that.
Yeah, I'll edit it into the other bits as well. It's fine. Yeah, Barbarian. Why not? Fuck it. Even though this movie came out in like fucking September.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, it's just...
No, it came out in October, sorry.
It was just one of those ones. It was like ridiculous. I think it paired quite nicely with our...
Yeah.
And
look, it's our movie awards.
Yeah.
It's a Gazzy. We can give it to whoever we damn well please.
Yeah, exactly.
And same way with... Look, if we don't want to give Angela Lansbury a Gazzy, we can give one to Johnny Salami anytime we want.
For which movie? Is that Confess Fletch?
Yeah, with Johnny Rasher.
Nice, yeah. Oh, nice.
There's one more. I'll
save it.
I'll save it.
You'll save it.
I'll save it at the end. I'll fit it in somewhere. Okay, right. December, David Scanlon. We've got some shite. Look, there's not a lot coming out in December, but some interesting things all the same. We've got Troll. Have you seen this? It's on Netflix.
Is this the one where
it's about an ancient troll woken up in the Norwegian mountains, and a ragtag group of heroes must come together to try and stop it from wreaking deadly havoc. I know it's on Netflix. Looks really interesting. I'm happy enough for it.
Sounds like Rampage by Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Wow. You're
no.
Are you not a fan of Dwayne The Rock Johnson? No, we won't talk about it. Violent Night. This is my movie this month. I'm so excited to see it. If this is shite, it's getting blatant muck. I'm calling it right now.
Straight away.
Right now. It's got David Arbor in it. He plays Santa Claus, and he's he's in a house giving presents, but it's also being invaded by John Leguizamo, and it's up to Santa to fight off the bad guys. It's Home Alone meets Die Hard. I'm fucking all here for it. It's by the guys who did Nobody and John Wick and Bullet Train. There we go.
Oh,
so it's
top 10 movie.
Where do you have that?
I think I have
I can't put another Banshees joke.
8 or something.
It's not even in my top 10.
Oh, lad.
I know. See, you haven't seen Aurora yet.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, so very, very excited for that. I think David Harbour looks great in the role. We've also got Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which it's a stop animated movie.
Stop motion animation.
What did I say? Stop animation?
Stop animation.
We should stop animation though. We should
Is that
stop
on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. It's coming out in selected theatres, but it's out on Netflix on December 9th, I think. Then we've got Avatar 2: The Way to Water. The Way to Water. Still don't want to pronounce that movie now. Jimmy Cameron is losing his mind and sinking a lot of money into a movie about blue people.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this.
It's like, what? How? Like,
so
there has to be something about it.
Apparently, it's just like emotional, all emotion.
Yeah.
So he was watching that video I was telling you about, where he just talks about how the first movie was all about spectacle, and this one is about the emotion of the characters. And what's her name? Zoe Saldana was doing an interview with, I think it was Jimmy Fallon or somebody, and she was like, "I've just come for the premiere, and I'm quite shook up by it." Now again, that could just be marketing shite, but like, I don't know, I'm intrigued. I'm happy enough. It's fucking too long though, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, 3 hours.
3:10.
No, look, Has James Cameron made a bad movie?
Have you seen The Abyss?
No.
No, neither have I. But
some people say.
He also made Piranha 2.
No, he didn't.
He did.
Did he?
Yeah, from like 1980 something.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And then there's like Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery. I don't know. Like, will that be any good? Who knows, David? Oh.
Man, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery, David.
If only we had a detective who could solve that mystery.
Someone like Johnny Pancetta.
Yes.
Me and Dave have seen it. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
I gave it 5 stars. My second number 2 movie of the year. We'll talk about it in December, but yeah, go watch that movie.
It'll
December
be
23rd.
on Netflix on the 23rd. Yeah.
23rd. White Noise. White Noise.
Yeah.
With Adam Driver. It's another movie directed by Noah Baumbach. I actually don't know much about it, but we'll see what happens.
Greta Gerwig is in it as well.
Yeah, they love working together. Yeah. The Pale Blue Eye with Christian Bale and Dudley Dursley. It's all about a
Dudley Dursley.
What's his name?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
From Harry Potter.
Yeah, and The Devil All the Time.
Yeah.
And something else.
The Old Guard.
And Queen's Gambit. There we go. Where a veteran detective, Augustus Landor, investigates a series of grisly murders with the help of a young cadet who will eventually go on to become the world famous author Edgar Allan Poe.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was about.
It's directed by some guy who's done other good stuff. Again,
class.
76
Nice.
episodes. I know how to talk about movies.
Nice, man. I'm sure you've done some good stuff.
Okay, fine, I'm typing. Gary's typing. Pale Blue Eye. Scott Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
He did Hostiles, Antlers, Out of the Furnace, Black Mass.
Good friends with Christian Bale.
Yes. And then finally, it's I Want to Dance with Somebody. That's not a movie, it's just if anyone wants to dance, let me know. No, it's the latest biopic. It's about Whitney Houston. And I haven't looked at the trailers yet, but look, I'll give it a red hot go.
I don't know, it seems a bit kind of...
That's a January 8th watch for Gary, tell you that much now for nothing.
Yeah, it seems a bit like a Netflix release for me. It's just like...
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, tunes be good.
Yeah,
are they getting Kevin Costner in it? That's the question.
For Bodyguard.
Yeah, or like a Kevin Costner-esque person.
Yeah.
If I hadn't used up all the John Hamm jokes, I probably could have put something in there, but...
Oh, like... Okay.
Yeah, another one. I can't think of any other one. I've used up... David, do you have any idea how hard it is to find 15 types of pork?
15 different types of pig. Yeah, I do. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. Well, that's December.
That is not December.
Well, no, that was December's
movies.
December.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were saying the end of this.
Well, the end of this podcast is... Well, that's November. Yeah.
We're done.
I think so. David, thank you so much.
It's been a good month.
It has been a good month. Very good month. Hard to live up to.
Do you know what? I was just thinking there, it's been a good month, but we only had 3 movies in Movie of the Month. Now, there was a lot of hidden gem, but it was just strange.
It was good quality movies this month. Well, like, remember like there's other movies where once where it was like, it's all fine. Whereas this was like, those 3 movies are in your top 10. Like, that's a lot. You know what I mean? Like, it's good, of good quality, you know?
Yeah.
Well, being in your top 10 is not always
a
sign of being in a good movie, because...
Bullet Train's in there.
Banshee's finished. I'm so sorry. Right, okay. Well,
Man,
Dave,
I'm getting Colin Farrell after you.
Don't be doing that. Don't be joking about that, David. Right, David, thank you so much for doing this again. And
you're welcome.
Thank you to the listener and anyone whose Spotify Wrapped we were on. And if you have any Iceland suggestions from the time you were there, let me know. Instagram, you can follow us at Reading in the Peers. You can also follow us on Letterboxd. The links are in the description. I'm Gary O'Brien, spelt in a weird way. David is DScanlon10. And you can also subscribe and follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other places where you can get your podcasts. And... Oh yes, so we'll be doing our end of year review soon. The Golden Gazzy Awards. Highest, most prestigious thing in the world. And as you can imagine, the awards are going to be very, very serious. But if you have any silly categories that we can use, let me know, because I've thought of some silly ones. But yes, do let us know. This is already going on too long, David, because we need to go watch some World Cup action, and I am getting too hot in the snood. So, thank you very much for listening, guys. We hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.
Look.